Thank you, everyone. Today is March 2nd, 2022. This is the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council Board meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting. And I see there's a hand up over here.
Brenda.
Brenda, okay, sorry. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Neighborhood Council meeting. The LA City Charter Section 900 created neighborhood councils to promote more citizen participation in government and make government more responsive to local needs. Our mission is to bring forward our concerns to the elected officials. We are a department within the City of Los Angeles. We are required to follow city and state laws. The Brown Act does not allow us to discuss anything that is not on tonight's agenda. There is an item called public comment where you can address items not on the agenda. The president, me, will identify the suggested time limits for each, if indeed there is one, and time allocations would be approximate, and our timekeeper this evening is James Brown. And James, would you lead us off with the Pledge of Allegiance? I have our flag here.
Okay, would everyone stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you're able? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Alan, you have completed all of your training, is that correct?
No. I still haven't done the funding.
Okay, so you can still vote, except
Yes.
on funding items. Okay, very good. Okay. Let me take roll call here.
I can do that, Linda.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
would everybody unmute?
First of all, Katie is excused. Sandy Joseph is excused, and Carol Newman is excused.
Danica Middleton is waiting to be moved over.
Go ahead, James, please.
Okay, James Brown, that's me. Katie Cronin is excused. Ruth Dotsey,
Here.
Jasmine Garcia,
Here.
Linda Gravani,
Here.
Sandra Joseph is excused. Gary Kay,
Here.
Danica Middleton is here, but she hasn't been moved over.
Here.
Okay. Miguel,
Here.
Alan Nelson,
Here.
Carol Newman is excused. Mary Pinamon, Jeremy Pasanik,
Here.
Tom Rowley,
He's supposedly going to be late, but he thought he would make it on time.
gotcha, and Linda Schwerin.
Here.
And actually, Tom might be calling in. So we might just see if there's a phone number. Tom, if you're there. I don't see a phone number. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I count 10 present and quorum is 9.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, number 5, Danica. Oh, no, that's me. Adopt the agenda. Adopt the agenda for March 2nd. Anyone want to make a motion to adopt the agenda?
I second.
Okay, you'll make the motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second. There is
Okay.
a number 14, the word actions missing. President
Oh.
update discussion and possible on.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Number 14.
Well,
Perfect. Okay, with that correction, can we take a vote?
Okay.
Sure. I mean, I can do it from now on, James.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. All board members, please unmute yourself. James Brown.
Yes.
Katie Cronin is excused. Ruth Doxey.
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia.
Yes.
Linda Gravani.
Yes.
Sandy Joseph excused. Gary Kay.
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel.
Yes.
Alan Nelson.
yes,
Carol Newman excused. Mary Penniman, is she still not here? Still not here. And Jeremy Pisanik.
Yes.
Tom's not here yet. And Linda Schwerin.
Here.
Great. 10 yeses, 0 nos, 0 abstain. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Who seconded that motion? I'm sorry.
Ruth Doxey.
Ruth
Thank
Doxey.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. We are on number 6, discussion and possible action for the approval of the minutes for February 2, 2022.
I move that we adopt the minutes as written for board meeting of, shoot, what was it? February
2nd.
February 2nd, 2022.
I second.
Okay, Danica made the motion. James Brown seconded. Any discussion? All right, let's take a vote.
James Brown.
Yes.
Katie Cronin's not here. Ruth Doxey.
Abstain.
Jasmine Garcia.
Yes.
Linda Gravani.
Yes.
Sandy Joseph excused. Gary Kay.
Abstain.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel.
Yes.
Alan Nelson.
yes,
Carol Newman is excused. Mary Penniman, not here. Jeremy Pisanik.
Yes.
Tom Riley, not here still. And Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
Okay, great. 8 yeses, 0 nos, 2 abstain. Motion passes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm looking for our guest, who is Nick Halick, and I don't see him here. If you are, would you raise your hand? You don't see him either, Jeremy, do you?
No.
Well, just a little bit, we'll basically skip this until he comes a bit later, if indeed he does. Our past communications officer, Kristen Fujitaki, saw this article in the LA Times mentioning 2 San Fernando Valley coaches who went back to their alma mater and are helping the young kids. He is actually dean at Birmingham High School, and he said his coach was like a father to him, so he wanted to give back, and I thought it would be nice to chat with him. So if he comes on, we'll chat with him a little later. We'll move on then to number 8, safety on our school campuses, and that will be presented by James Brown, who's our board member and also co-chair of the Community Police Advisory Board. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for coming. One of the hats that I wear is chair of the Lake Balboa Health and Public Safety Committee. And the purpose and goal of our committee is to provide a portal whereby we can address, help resolve, and educate our community on key health and public safety issues and quality of life issues as well that face us all. We seek the assistance of state and local representatives, and we work very closely with our local law enforcement partners in an effort to reduce crime and the fear of crime, while at the same time helping our communities to become safer and violence-free and increase quality of life for everyone. Tonight, I'd like to provide you with a brief update regarding our committee activities since the beginning of the year. I think everyone knows that for the past 2.5 years, everyone's mind has been set on COVID, the effect of COVID, as well as the variations of which. And we continue to hear of the number of illnesses that are taking place, as well as the number of deaths that are occurring in our country, as well as in California, where we have over 8.9 million cases and over 885,000 deaths due to COVID. And yet, while we've been preoccupied with COVID, many of us have forgotten about the fear of contracting COVID that a number of individuals have felt all during this time, but who were afraid to go to the hospital for fear of contracting COVID, but in spite of serious health and medical issues that they may have going on. And that also has resulted in the deaths of thousands of individuals. In addition to all of that, and the reason why I wanted to speak tonight is to remind everyone that California leads the country with the strongest and most comprehensive gun laws and gun safety laws in the nation. Yet in spite of these strong laws, California continues to lead the nation, not only in active shooter events, in this case, 222 as of last year, 2021, but we've also led the country in terms of school shootings. Now, school shootings are defined by law enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI as shootings that occur around school campuses as well as on school campuses, whether or not they result in death or illnesses, death or critical injuries to those involved. So California still continues to lead the country in this regard. And last year, according to the FBI, there were 47 shootings on campus. And these shootings occurred all over the state. The last school shooting, as I'm sure many of you remember, occurred in November of 2019 at Saugus High School, resulting in 3 student deaths, including that of the shooter. In November of last year, you also might recall that a shooting occurred in the suburb of Detroit, where a 17-year-old teenager shot and killed 4 classmates and wounded 7 others. You also may remember that the city prosecutor later decided to charge the parents of the teenager with involuntary manslaughter in what the judge ruled was an act that could have been avoided. In the case of this particular school shooter, the parents were not only had given the shooter the gun, which was used in that shooting, but the school also contacted the parents on numerous occasions, warning the parent of abnormal behavior that the student experienced or shown at school, and the parents were asked to remove the student from the school and failed to do so. And so as a result of this, plus other indications, other proof that the attorney, the city attorney in that case, in that suburb, found out, she decided to charge the parents. And I think this should serve as a wake-up call to everyone. You know, it's really funny, and that is we never really think of school shootings ourselves until one occurs, whether it be Stony Hook that occurred in 2012, some 10 years ago, Parkland, Florida school shooting that occurred 4 years ago, the Saugus school shooting. But we've been fortunate here in Lake Balboa in that no school shootings have occurred, and yet they can occur because of the increased gun violence and the lack of education, we believe, that is prevalent in our community. In January, this committee started holding health and public safety committee meetings to discuss the increase in gun violence and in schools in particular, as well as to address the question, should parents ever be held accountable for school gun violence committed by their child? During that meeting, we had pros and cons from the various people who attend. I should say that, as I mentioned from the start, no school shootings have occurred in Lake Balboa, which probably is the reason why only 2 of our board members attended these 2 committee meetings, because no school shootings occurred in Lake Balboa. But everyone must keep in mind, even though they haven't occurred in Lake Balboa, they can, because the tide has changed. Guns have become more prevalent. And you'll see later on that it's been proven that most of the guns that are used in committing school shootings are taken from the home by the actual perpetrator. So as I said, Lake Balboa is fortunate in that while no school shootings were reported, this not in my backyard feeling might help to explain why we've not really paid close attention to things that could happen in our own community. The meetings were attended also by representatives of the LAUSD Board District 3, as well as other community members who attended and took part in the discussions. Recently, the LA City Attorney's Office sent me, after I had questioned them, sent me some information regarding prosecutions of people who violated safe gun laws over the past 5 years. Safe gun laws, as I said, are laws that were put into place by the state of California to make a person liable for violations of laws with respect to proper gun storage, guns that are in proximity to a child, or where a child might be able to easily take a gun from its hiding place. The state of California has penal codes that both can be filed as a misdemeanor as well as a felony. The LA City Attorney's Office only prosecutes misdemeanor gun safety violation laws. And in the past 5 years, they prosecuted only 24 gun violation safety laws, and they've won 16. I should preface it by saying that winning a gun safety law violation is not an easy task. So while the city attorney's office prosecutes gun safety law violations as a misdemeanor punishable by a $1,000 fine, it's the district attorney's office that processes gun safety law violations that result in homicide, crime, or a combination of both, that can process these filings that would result in not only fines, but also imprisonment of up to 3 years. So we plan to continue to talk about these gun safety law violations, but we also, during these meetings, examined what's going on with LAUSD. At the last meeting, we had Tamara from Mr. Smerelson's office, and we spoke about the activities and efforts that have been undertaken by LAUSD and Board District 3 in particular to make people more aware of gun safety law and its violations. I might add that Board Member Smerelson, at his recommendation, drafted a letter which each year goes home with the students to their parents in an effort to remind parents of gun safety laws and the violations of gun safety laws and how important it is to keep guns out of the reach of children. When you stop to think of it, those of you who might be parents or grandparents, as the case may be, for example, when you schedule your child to experience a play date with a neighbor's child, has it occurred to you to ask that neighbor, do they own a gun and how is that gun stored? Most people don't. They're concerned with proper food diet for the kids during the play date, whether or not someone has allergies, et cetera, but very rarely does an individual stop to think that that person where they're sending their child might have a gun and you might want to know if that gun is being stored safely. And that's just one item. So the Board District 3 and LAUSD in general sent a letter to home with the students to the parents, asking the parents with respect to gun safety laws and their awareness of it, whether or not they were aware of gun safety laws. Now, information that I received is that about 51% of the parents that responded to that survey indicated that they were not aware of gun safety laws. And so this is an area that I think needs to be addressed. in order to see what we as a community, what we as a neighborhood council can do in order to create greater awareness. We plan to continue to meet to discuss the topic of public gun safety awareness, particularly due to the fact that firearms, and this is important to note, firearms are the leading cause of death in children and teens, according to the CDC. They published they made a publication, Gun Deaths Among Children and Teens by Intent. And they indicated that children aged 5 to 14 are 21 times more likely to be killed with guns. Adolescents and young adults, 14 to 24, are 23 times more likely to be killed with guns. And 60% are homicides and 35% are suicides. In the Saugus High School shooting, not only did that teenager kill those two other individuals, two other classmates with intent, but he also killed himself. And this is generally the case in most gun events, whether it be school shootings or active shooter events. The shooter generally kills himself as opposed to being captured by law enforcement. Sticking with LAUSD, school shootings have created new anxieties for the younger generation of students. This is something that I don't know about you, but it's totally unacceptable to me. Students should not have to go to school worried about their own safety while they are at school. I'm sure most of you will agree with that, if not all. And so, again, going back to the question, should parents ever be held accountable for gun violence committed by their child at school? And you could say in your own mind, yes or no. You could say it all depends on the circumstance, and you're right. It all depends on the circumstance. This is why there are certain penal codes describing certain violations of gun safety law and what the penalties are for this for same. But in the meantime, back at the ranch, with respect to LAUSD, you may be aware that in November last, the board voted to defund school police by 35%. This resulted in a layoff of 65 school police officers out of a force of 424, I believe. They voted to defund the school police, resulting in these layoffs. And they also voted to defund or reduce the budget by 35%, which in turn led to the resignation of, at that time, the school chief, the school police chief. And so we plan to continue to meet to discuss this, what LAUSD plans to do, whether or not the schools, and by the way, there are still police that are stationed with or at certain high schools, but it is not 24/7. It's certainly not on weekends. And LAPD cannot go on school campuses. Yes, Linda, you have a question.
Yeah, I was going to remind everyone that it's not the Lake Balboa board that voted that, although we did support it for Scott Schmerlson. It's the Board of Education that said we don't want the school police on campus. And that's really ridiculous. I think they need to revisit that.
They do,
But
and I think
your time is almost up.
Okay, thank you. So as I said, we plan to continue to meet to discuss this as well as other topics. And all members of the board are invited to join in this conversation along with members of the community. We could use your thoughts, suggestions, ideas to help make ours a better community. And I encourage you to contact me at jamesb@lakebalboanc.org. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Maybe you want to type your email address on your name. Okay, I don't see any other comments. Any comments or questions for James at this moment? We can have just one or two. And then Brenda, I see that you're here. I know you have another meeting, so we'll go on to number 9, announcements and reports, and we'll go to LA County Supervisor Sheila Kuehl's office, Brenda Yanez. Hi, Brenda.
Awesome. Hi, Linda. Thank you very much for the opportunity to provide updates today. I'm having some trouble turning on my camera but everybody could hear me all right. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Brenda Yanez. I am the Field Deputy for Supervisor Sheila Kuehl, and I'll go ahead and get started and just provide you some COVID-19 updates and announcements, specifically today about the health officer order masking updates that have occurred over the last couple of days. So masks are still, keep in mind that masks are still required in indoor public spaces in LA County as of right now. Starting on February 25th, businesses and venues are now able to excuse fully vaccinated people from indoor masking requirements, and there's 3 different options, such as businesses can excuse fully vaccinated customers and workers from wearing masks indoors if they show proof of vaccination. Businesses can also excuse fully vaccinated customers from wearing masks indoors if they show proof of vaccination. Workers must still need to wear masks. Businesses can also choose not to make any changes. This means they'll keep the indoor mask mandate for all customers and workers, whether they are vaccinated or not. And unvaccinated or partially vaccinated people must continue to wear masks in public indoor spaces. Masks can only be removed when eating and drinking. There's a lot more information about all of this on the LA County press release that they released, or you can also review this on the business toolkit for masks on the LA County public health webpage. And then last week, LA County did lift the outdoor mask mandate. Masks are no longer required outdoors, childcare facilities in K-12 schools, or outdoors at mega events. And again, masking is still recommended if you are at crowded outdoor events. I know this is a lot of information and it can be very confusing. So feel free to reach out to me directly if you do have any questions in particular to this, and I'll be more than happy to have an offline conversation with you. Aside from this, wanted to briefly touch upon vaccine clinics. So we are still continuing our efforts to increase vaccination rates in the San Fernando Valley. We have an ongoing vaccine clinic at the Mid-Valley YMCA in Van Nuys, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And aside from this one, we have a couple of pop-ups that are coming up. Most recently, we have one coming up on March 12th. That'll be next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. All vaccines will be available. So feel free to come on by if you are looking to get vaccinated or looking to get boosted. We'll be there to assist you. And if the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council or any organizations on the call today or constituents would like to put up a vaccination clinic, feel free to let me know, email me, and I'll be more than happy to guide you through that process so we can get that up and running in Lake Balboa. Aside from that, there's been a lot of fuzz, there's been a lot of talk about the Whiteman Airport. So thus far, the LA County Department of Public Works has held 6 different community advisory virtual meetings. These are called the CACs, the Community Advisory Committee meetings. And they've basically been putting these meetings together in order to hear both sides of the story in regards to, whether people want the airport to close or whether they don't want it to close, or ideas as to how the airport can improve their ways of outreach, or open space potentially coming to the airport, or different ways as to how they can reimagine the airport in a way that serves the community as a greater whole. In an effort to, again, since they've only held 6 different community advisory virtual meetings as of right now, they've all been held virtual, but in an effort to be inclusive of all our constituents in the San Fernando Valley, we will be hosting 2 in-person community meetings / workshops, because we do recognize that there are many constituents who are unable to access the virtual meetings. So we want to be able to provide them with a space to share their thoughts on the Whiteman Airport. These community meetings / workshops will be taking place this week. I shared the flyer with Linda, and she mentioned she has already shared with the board. And I'm sure that it's on your guys' website. If not, I'll just briefly talk about when they're taking place. The first one is taking place tomorrow, March 3rd from 6 to 9 p.m. That will be at Pacoima City Hall, and it will be outdoors at Pacoima City Hall. The second one will be at Whiteman Airport on Saturday, March 9th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And basically, just so that you're aware of the format that's going to be in place, I apologize for all the background noise. In regards to the format, we are going to have airport informational displays. We'll have folks sharing ideas, asking questions, and learning more about the next steps in terms of the proposition that's going to be sent over to the Board of Supervisors from the CAC members. We'll have people will be able to enjoy family-friendly activities, and there will be some light refreshments available. You're able to drop by anytime during the open house hours, where airport representatives will be available for questions if you have any. Again, the whole masking situation, we are recommending everyone to wear their mask outdoors, and they will be required inside City Hall if you need to use the facilities. A lot of us, or a lot of our constituents, still have not been able to make it to some of these virtual meetings. So if that's the case for you, you are able to access the website that they put in place that they set up for Re-Envision Whiteman Airport CAC. You are able to look back at all the video recordings of these past 6 meetings, the different presentations that they use for those meetings, and the agenda packet. By accessing that website. It's www.reenvisionwhiteman.airport.com. Once again, it's www.reenvisionwhiteman.airport.com. And I know that there were some questions about who was on the CAC and all of that good stuff. You're able to find all of this information on the website itself, but if you have further questions, you can go ahead and contact Paul Maselbus. He is with the Department of Public Works, and he will be able to answer all of your questions in detail. His email is P as in Paul, last name is M-A-S-E-L.
Like Sam?
Yep.
Sorry, M-A-S like
M as in-
Sam.
Yeah, so it's P as in Paul, M as in Mary, A as in Apple, S as in Sam, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, B as in Brenda, A as in Apple, and S as in Sam. At DPW, D as in dog, P as in Pacific, and W as wing, .lacounty.gov. And then he'll also be present tomorrow and Saturday, along with other representatives from the CAC and from the Department of Public Works. So if you are planning on joining, he and everybody else will be there to answer any of your questions. I will also be there. So I look forward to seeing any of you at the open house this week. Other than that, that's it for me. You can call me at our office cell if you have any questions. That number is 818-901-3831, or email me directly at B as in Brenda, Yanez, Y-A-N-E-Z, at bos.lacounty.gov. My contact information is also on the agenda, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yes,
that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to remind the board and the stakeholders that we took a position that we do not support re-envisioning Whiteman Airport. It has serves the community in many, many different ways. But Ruth has her hand up for a question.
Yes, I didn't get a location for the March 12th vaccine clinic.
Yes, so the vaccine clinic on March 12th will also be at Pacoima City Hall. And I have the flyers being worked on right now. I'm hoping I can send them out before the end of the week this week, so that you guys can all access it.
Thank you.
Linda, there's a stakeholder that also had their hand up.
Okay,
Ms. Colea?
Hi, I'm Tina Colella. I was just wondering, what educational guidelines are being provided to businesses to accommodate people with religious exemptions? As Brenda Yanez was speaking,
Yes.
vaccination, how are we addressing Title VII of the U.S. Civil Rights Act of 1964?
So I do have to step out to another meeting that's ongoing at the moment. Can you please email me with your question, and I'll be more than happy to respond in further detail about that. My email is located on the agenda, but I'll go ahead and reiterate right now. It's B as in Brenda, Yanez, Y-A-N-E-Z, at BOS as in Board of Supervisors .lacounty.gov.
Do you have any information that you can provide for people that are listening in?
As of right now, I don't have any of that information off the top of my head, which is why I do ask you to go ahead and email me so that I give you accurate information.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you. Okay, Jeremy, who else do we have here?
Let's see here. We have,
Well, we have Councilwoman Nuri Martinez's office, Deanna Para.
yes.
You're up next.
Okay, glad to take it. Good evening, everybody. I am the Lake Balboa Field Deputy with Council President Martinez for Council District 6. Have a couple of quick updates for you. So the thing that I have probably been most excited about for the month of February, which is still ongoing, is urban forestry. They've been extremely active in Lake Balboa. So if you have any final requests, anything you'd like to get taken care of in terms of tree trimming by city tree surgeons, please do email me at viana.para@lacity.org, and I would love to add that to their schedule. They've been fantastic at helping me taking care of smaller requests from constituents. So if you have anything, please send that my way as well. Something else I'd like to share, a lot of residents around the Haynes Footbridge, which is northeast of Victory and Balboa at that intersection. Some have been organizing to see that bridge reopen. So in the last week, actually in the last month, I've been getting lots of emails, lots of information from residents in that area about reopening or not reopening that bridge. There was a community meeting held last week on Thursday, which I attended and helped gather some feedback from residents. So if you are in that area and you're listening in, or you're a board member, please feel free to reach out to me. I know some of you already have, and I would love to take your feedback into consideration as well. There will be another community meeting towards the end of March too. And on top of that, I would like to host a community cleanup. I have not yet decided on a location. I am between two, but it is on March 26th. And the second that I have a beautiful flyer, I will send it your way. And that is about it on my end. As always, feel free to contact our office at 818-778-4999 or email me again at viana.para@lacity.org for any city-related issues in and around Lake Balboa. Thank you.
Thank you. I provide the contact information for all the field reps, so it's all on the agenda in case you missed it. I have also from Scott Schmerlson's office, Tammy. Hi, Tammy, you're up next.
Hi everyone, good evening. Tammy Ramirez from Scott Schmerlson's office. Just a friendly reminder, the schools within the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council is Bassett, Galt, LeMay EEC, Mulholland, MS, Pearl, and here comes my daughter, right on cue. Mulholland Holland, Pearl, Lake Balboa College Prep. And I want to acknowledge that Miss Schwartz was congratulated for her 40 years of service at Lake Balboa Prep. She's the animal caretaker since 1982, and she was featured on Channel 7. And in addition to that, Lake Balboa College Prep is the recipient of a Parent Center grant. Then we also have Independent High School, Anatola, Cohasset, and Stag. So those are the schools within the neighborhood and within your neighborhood council.
Tammy, you may not know that Jasmine Garcia is a graduate of Lake Balboa College Prep.
Jasmine Garcia was on our student advisory council, so we know Jasmine quite well, and I'm so happy to see her face. I was just texting my coworker Tara, and I was like, Jasmine is on. Board member Schmerlson has 6 board member priority projects coming down the pike in April, so next month, and one of which is for LeMay EEC for classroom furniture. Superintendent Alberto Carvalho officially started with LUSD on February 14th, which was Valentine's Day. He has been visiting schools throughout the district, including Miller CTC, with Mr. Schmerlson. And just this week, he officially launched, this is the superintendent, launched his 100-day plan influenced by stakeholder input that will inform LUSD's strategic plan moving forward. So I encourage you to read about Superintendent Carvalho's 100-day plan at achieve.lusd.net/100-day plan, and that's 100. So with regard to masking updates, in accordance with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, outdoor masking is now optional for all individuals in LAUSD. This was updated. This updated policy went into effect February 22nd. And indoor masking will remain as the LAUSD continues to monitor COVID and works in conjunction with our medical director and healthcare professionals to establish an updated mask policy. Now, just a couple of opportunities. Parents and or guardians of LUSD students can become part of the public health ambassadors. There's trainings coming up this month. There's 2 trainings to earn a certification, and they take place on Saturday, March 5th and March 9th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And essentially, trainees will learn about safety habits, vaccination, parent portal and daily pass, school volunteer program, and supporting their school. And I have the website on, but oh, here it is. It is to register, it's www.mobilize.us.LUSD/event/4275556 And we're also pleased to announce that the Community Advisory Committee membership application window is now open and will close on April 1st. So the Community Advisory Committee is made up of dedicated volunteers, including parents, students, staff, and community members. And the CAC, it's CAC for short, is tasked to provide input and recommendations to the LAUSD Board of Education on special education programs and services outlined in the Special Education Local Plan, which is called the SELPA. If you're able to join, the webinar is March 12th, at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And I could send Linda the link for that. And then Sorry, this is kind of long.
Yeah, if you could shorten
Yes,
it, it would be
yes,
great.
I have
Thank
two
you.
more. I have two more. Mr. Schmerlson chairs the board special education committee, and it's reconvening on March 10th at 5 p.m. And just to give you a preview, the Division of Special Education will provide us with an update of the Special Education Virtual Academy. LAUSD's Deputy Budget Director will provide an overview of the special education budget, and we'll take a look at inclusion models at 2 schools. The agenda will be available on the board's website by the end of the week, and it will be live streamed and translation will be available. And then lastly, this is the last one. I am going to be going on maternity leave. So, at the end of the month. So you'll be receiving updates from our office via email when I'm absent. So just wanted to give you all a heads up. So
well, congratulations. That's wonderful news for you. So then we'll have 2 little ones coming in during your updates, right?
Well, this will be my third and
3.
final one.
Would you please talk to Mr. Schmerlson and tell him that James Brown had an in-depth discussion this evening regarding the schools, and we would like him to revisit school police.
Yes, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was listening to Mr. Brown's update, which I was a part of his meeting, and our Student Advisory Council is going to explore leveraging student voice to inform campus safety and protocols and policies related to gun violence. And they're going to develop a policy memo. So that's something Mr. Schmerlson is going to be taking a look at. They're in the exploratory phases right now of that particular topic, but we're going to be having Chief Ramirez help to inform students while they're crafting this policy, but it is something that we're going to be taking a look at. So I thought that dovetailed really nicely with what Mr. Brown was saying. So,
well, Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council voted to keep the school police on campus. So this is something near and dear to our hearts. And so whatever I need to do, or we need to do as the board, to bring that back to the forefront, I think it's time. I think it was an unfortunate thing that they voted to remove the school police. My own personal opinion, but I think the board agreed with that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I see there's a hand raised. Steve?
Yeah, when you went through the list of schools that are in Scott Schmerlson's district, High Tech High, is that something that's not a part of LA Unified anymore?
High Tech High is not in our board district.
It's on Birmingham's campus, so I don't know how it could be.
Oh, so then Birmingham is an independent charter.
It's
so,
High Tech High is an independent, it's not part of Birmingham. It's just on the campus, just like Independence is.
Oh, so I'm wondering if they're co-located. That's something I'll have to look into, because I don't see that on our list of LAUSD schools. So I'm not sure if they're an independent charter or
yeah, because I
I'm
know
assuming they're independent.
Because Magnolia Science is also on that
Oh,
campus.
Magnolia Science is an independent charter. Yeah.
That I knew, but High Tech High, I always thought was a part of LA Unified. Okay, that was my question.
Thank you.
And next we've got Assembly Member Adrena Zarian's representative, Sophia. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. As Linda was saying, my name is Sophia Sudani. I'm the field representative for Assemblymember Nazarian's office. Some updates from his office. One of the new bills or the bill package that the Assembly member just introduced in February as the chair of the Assembly Aging and Long-Term Care Committee. It was 3 pieces of legislation that are going to be rolling out as part of his commitment to older Californians and people with disabilities. Most impactful, Assemblymember Nazarian seeks to establish the Older Adults and People with Disabilities Targeted Rent Stabilization Program to prevent and end homelessness within this vulnerable group. This targeted rental assistance program would enable an estimated 25,000 older adults and people with disabilities who are currently homeless or at risk of homelessness to afford private market housing. So really exciting stuff happening in Sacramento right now. More parts to this part of this legislation that are going to be rolling out in the next couple months that I will update you on as we progress. Back here at the district, as always, we're helping people with EDD, DMV, rent assistance. If you need that, anything like that the state can help with, please do reach out. On the event side of things, we're going to be doing a women's self-defense for the soul event that will be happening in May. I'll be letting you know about further details on that. And as always, I'm here for any state-related matters. Thank you.
Thank you.
And do we have a couple hands raised?
Yeah, we do. And please raise your hand and Stacy Rotter.
Hi, I actually had my hand up from way earlier. I had a question for Viana, if that's okay. Just a quick question, and she can get back to me later or whatever. But I wanted to find out with the tree trimming, if the city, if they're also doing something, because there have been several trees that we've had to have taken down for safety reasons in the immediate area. And they leave about 6 inches above the ground, which becomes a safety hazard. So I was wondering if they're doing anything about that. And I also wanted to give kudos to Brenda, the animal handler at Lake Balboa College Prep. I would highly recommend anyone in the Lake Balboa immediate area close to the school have the school's number or Brenda's direct number on hand. She was instrumental in coming to retrieve an escaped peacock on my roof. So she is great. Kudos to her.
Thank you, Stacy. John and Michelle.
Hi, this is Michelle. My question is, I noticed that on the news that the governor signed off on money for grants in Sacramento and the Los Angeles for homelessness. And one of the one thing we noticed that this money is going to go to hotels. They're closing a lot of hotels, and we were just informed that, like, let's say in the Valley, they're closing they've already closed Airtel and some other hotels, and Extended Stay American and Woodland Hills and Northridge, Extended Stay America. And it just was found out, it just popped up on us, and we just found out how are these funds being used to provide help and what program? And they say it's a state program. Can you have any information about that?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for bringing that up. If you don't mind, I have my email is in the agenda, but I can also provide it to you because I'd like to pinpoint exactly what you're referring to, so I can make sure I give you the correct information in regards to where that funding is going to. I don't want to speak out of turn on if we're not speaking about the same level of funding. Again,
it said that's going to homeless funds, so I just wanted to know how it's going to be allocated in the Los Angeles area.
100%. Yeah. Send me a quick email if you don't mind, if maybe the link that you use to, or the news source that you use to find that information, and I can pinpoint what funding source you were referring to and get you those answers, especially right now, as we were saying with the Airtel and everything like that, of different housing that's being closed down right now. We're definitely working with the city in close relationship on seeing what the state can do to provide additional funding or support moving forward to provide housing for our homelessness right now. But I do want to track down what funding you're referring to, and I'll get you those answers.
Thank you.
Thank you. James Brown.
Yes, I'd like to send kudos to Sophia for the great work that she's been doing in assisting those that will become homeless. Vienna as well. Thank you very much, both of you, for your efforts in that regard. Sophia, the last question to you. You had mentioned the assembly bill that the assembly member is working on in Sacramento. Can you specify that assembly number? Assembly bill
Yeah,
number?
it's 2547. And I can actually, tomorrow, I think is going to be our finalized fact sheet for it, which, I mean, you can look online and do the LegNet version of it, which will give an in-depth explanation of the bill. But by tomorrow, we should have a fact sheet, which will pare it down a little bit and make it, so if you need any basic facts for the bill, I'm happy to send that over to you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Viana?
Just to respond to Stacy's question about the, you said like a 6-inch stump-ish. I would like to ask urban forestry directly. There usually tends to be a reason for things like this, but I do hear you that it is a safety concern. So if you do email me or call our office, I would love to get back to you. I'll ask them tomorrow and see if there's a safety precaution or some other alternative, especially if you have a specific location or stump in mind.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think that is it as far as raised hands. Thank you. Number 10, public comments. And please advise us if you're a registered lobbyist. Comments from the public on non-agenda items, issues, announcements, and complaints within the jurisdiction of the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council. The Brown Act prevents the board from commenting on your comments. We are, however, making note of them. Thank you. Stacy?
Hi, so 2 quick things. Number 1, on the email that came specifically from the Lake Balboa, I can't even talk, sorry, Lake Balboa NC email address, the link to Zoom, still not only does it not take you to the Zoom link, like I shared with you guys last meeting, but it takes you to the December 1st, 2021 agenda. So the link for the agenda links to the correct agenda for today. And then the link for the Zoom meeting links to the December 1st agenda. So it would be great if that could get fixed by the next month.
I hope so.
Thank you. And also, just as a community member, as a resident stakeholder, I would love to get some updates on projects that seemed like they were, almost to fruition. They've been funded, proofs have been voted on and things like that. But then things kind of drop off the plate and we never hear about them again. Specifically, examples are like the Welcome to Lake Balboa or the bus benches. So an update on those in the near future would be appreciated. Thank you.
James, you have your hand raised, but there's time for board comments, or is this personal?
Board comments.
All right, I'll get to you later.
We have 2 more.
Yeah, I know.
people.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Yes, good evening, Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Clements, and I am running for LA City Controller. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a 3rd-generation Angelino. I was actually born in the Valley, but I grew up in West LA. But I have kids who are 4th-generation LAUSD graduates. I've dedicated my career to working for the city of Los Angeles. I've worked for the city for more than 25 years. I consider myself an all-around city and public finance expert, having worked in 6 different departments, including chief financial officer of 2 different departments. I feel compelled to run for city controller because I am incredibly frustrated and disappointed at how the city is being mismanaged. And there's a lot more information on my website at clements4controller.com, and 4 being the number 4. But my platform focuses on stopping the corruption in the city, eliminating the ongoing structural budget deficit that results in ongoing city cuts to city services and staffing, and also improving city services through modernization and improving our IT investments, and also civil service and contracting reform. So I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. Again, there's a lot more information on my website But I thank you for your time and your consideration, and I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel, I'm sorry we missed you. I'll come back to you right after we finish with the public comments. I apologize. We've got, I'm sorry, I can't read your name here. Miss Coella?
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to know if I can ask that the board provide information in regard to, education and guidelines to businesses in the Lake Balboa area to accommodate religious exemption. All of us are being excluded.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we can't comment. Erin Devandry?
Yeah, hi, I'm just commenting about, or replying to the comment about the error on the email blast. Wasn't aware of that, and I already fixed it, so next month it won't be there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know.
Danica?
Hi, I did talk to Viana today about the Welcome to Lake Balboa sign.
Okay, so that's a personal, that's not personal, that's a board issue, so you'll come in a moment. This
Okay.
is for stakeholders.
Sure.
Okay, I don't see any more. Jeremy, are you in agreement?
Yeah, we just had Daniel.
Okay, thank you. So I apologize, Daniel. I missed you here. Daniel is from Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, Dunn. And I said hi to you earlier and moved you on over, and then didn't get to call on you. I apologize for your update.
No problem. I know that you all can't see my wonderful face, and that is okay. I unmuted myself. So good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Johnson, and yes, I am the NEA, the Neighborhood Empowerment Advocate for Lake Balboa. I have a few updates on behalf of the department. And before I get started, I just want you all to know my birthday is in 20 days.
Time to get you a gift, don't we?
Not yet. You're still getting to know me. Just I like to lighten up the mood a little bit. So to start things off, per our Empower LA website and our monthly profile that the board has received in regards to certifications, there's currently 2 folks missing ethics, 1 person missing funding, and with that funding, it is not including the youth seat. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. I had to double check that myself. 2 folks are missing code of conduct, 8 folks are missing anti-bias training, and then 5 folks are missing the Planning 101 training. Just want you all to know that the Planning 101 for the Planning and Land Use Committee is a mandatory training. So we want to make sure those folks get all the support that they need to get in that training, to complete that training, the Planning 101 training. Of course, again, if you have completed that already, feel free to reach out to me ASAP, and I'll do my best to make sure that you're credited for that. And that could be recently, or of course in the past before you had me as an NEA. There are currently 3 folks that have, per the website again, that have completed the Planning 101 out of 8. So we want to make sure we do our best to support more folks in completing that. Again, if you're having any challenges, please let me or anyone in the department know so I can support you all in Cornerstone or whatever issues you may have, okay? Just wanted to start that off. Want you all to know that we did submit an ADA checklist for the old location that you were meeting at, but the department is going to go ahead and submit a new ADA checklist for the new location. So that is the part of what our department is doing. So on our end, the location and time update is completed. But in regards to the agreements and permits, I want you to know that the neighborhood council works with the city clerk for that. So in terms of done, we have done our part, and we will be doing an additional step, which is sending that ADA list for the new location. So again, that department will go out, assess it, and then provide you all with an update, okay? Just wanted to make sure you all had that update. Also, wanted to make sure you all knew that when it comes down to funding items, that is a city clerk area of expertise. So what I can do whenever anything comes up in regards to funding, or excuse me, neighborhood council funding, I can support the ask and provide, get information as you all can from city clerk to support you. But when it comes down to specific things, those things should be directed to city clerk because they handle all neighborhood council funding. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear for you all. Also want to update you all on last night. BOMP did meet to discuss the digital communications policy amongst other things. I was supporting all neighborhood councils that I'm affiliated with or supporting in regards to making sure they provide any feedback and updates by March 1st. Good news is that there is a date set for March 7th for neighborhood councils to still get in some information regarding recommendations and suggestions to that digital plan so that BOMP could take that in, make those edits and amendments, and then submit it so they could go through the process that it needs to, so that could be voted on March, I believe, 21st. So again, neighborhood councils have, or you all specifically have to March 7th to get more recommendations and suggestions in regards to the digital communications policy. Just want to make sure I got it all in. Yes, I know there was a question to Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen, I want you to know that you're good to go. You actually have the funding completed. It's the code of conduct. So if you can look into your Cornerstone right now, it should take you no more than 5 minutes. About time those agenda items come, if you can send me proof, you should be good to go to vote on any item tonight. I just wanted to make sure that's clear. But of course, if you have any trouble, you can contact me on the back end, but you should be able to make that happen if you can get that in ASAP during this meeting. I believe in the nick of time, that was it. In regards to the information we do have on Empower LA, the rosters were updated as of February 18th. So if anything is missing and it's not there, you can't see it. That's because the last update was February 18th. So that's what I
Okay,
have.
great. Thank you very much. Linda Schwerin, you have a question for Daniel?
Let me unmute. Yes, I do. Daniel, with regard to the Planning 101, you mentioned it was required. Can
Yes.
you clarify for me? My understanding was that it was required for any board member who was on the Planning and Land Use Committee only.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So that is correct. So currently you all have 8 folks on the Planning and Land Use Committee, and per the information I have via the empowerla.org website, there's only been 3 people who have completed it. And so all members of the committee must complete that training, right? I'm also supporting folks get that completed as soon as possible because we want to make sure there's an adequate amount of folks that have completed training. Mind you, everyone has to complete it, so that when it comes down to voting to those items, there are more than 3 people that are in a good standing to make that decision and pass that forward over to the general board, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a question from Michelle.
Actually, it's John this time. I could change my name, but not really. Yes, a question in regards to the training. We've been to now 200 and I think it's 18 Zoom meetings. And when it comes to the training, predominantly, the other NCs are saying that if you're a committee member on the Land and Use Plum Committee, however you want to call it, everybody has to take the training, the Planning 101, whether you're a board member or not. Is that accurate or not?
Yes, it is accurate. And for clarity, I guess, not I guess. let's be more direct. For clarity, what I hear you saying, hey, if there's an individual on the board that's in the committee, do they have to take the training? Yes. If there is a stakeholder who is not necessarily on the board, but is a part of the committee, do they have to take the training? Yes. Any member on the Planning and Land Use Committee, it is mandatory for them to complete that training. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We got to move along. Any other questions or comments? Steve?
Just, if you're just a community stakeholder and you attend a virtual land use and planning meeting, you have to have the training as well?
No, that's
Okay.
not correct. It's anyone that's going to vote that's on the committee needs to go through the training. If you're a participant and you're observing, no, because somebody is going to, the committee is going to say yes or no to a project. And in order to say yes or no to a project, you need to take the training.
So as long as you're not a voting member, you can
Correct.
still make comments and talk about it. but you
Absolutely,
can't-
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, number 11, board comments. James Brown.
I'd just like to make sure that everyone is aware that on Wednesday, March 9th at 6 o'clock is the West Valley LAPD Community Police Advisory Board meeting. The guest speaker at that meeting is Chief Beatrice Gurmala. She is the highest ranking female officer in LAPD. She is in charge of all 7 LAPD bureaus within the environs of Los Angeles, and she oversees all command and patrol operations. She's going to be speaking on a number of topics, answering questions, and this is an opportunity. If you've not spoken to Chief Gurmala, this is an opportunity for you to meet, to see, to greet her, and the meeting will be Zoom, virtual Zoom meeting. We'll start at 6 o'clock and you'll find the notifications. I will send that to our website and it will also be posted on social media. Some of you may have already received emails to that effect, Ruth, Linda, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Danica?
Yes, I'd like to let all the board members and stakeholders know that I have been periodically in correspondence with Jonah in regards to our Welcome to Lake Balboa sign. I have been told repeatedly over the last 2 years, of course, because of COVID, that they've had a lot of personnel changes and whatnot. So that's supposedly delayed the project, but I do want to let everyone know that I do check in. And even today, I spoke to Viana about it, and Viana is hopefully going to, between she and I, maybe Viana, if you could give, I've asked several times for a contacted street services and I haven't been provided one. So I would love to get that.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. LA City Charter Section 909, Annual City Budget Priorities. Each neighborhood council may present to the mayor and council an annual list of priorities for the city budget. The mayor shall inform certified neighborhood councils of the deadlines for submission so that the input may be considered in a timely fashion. So we're on number 12, which is budget advocate. Carol is not here this evening, but budget day is going to be 18th of June, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. and it's going to be via virtual. This is a really very important, we don't need that up at the moment. This is very important for voting for who is going to be a budget representative, and from those budget representatives, they select the budget advocates. It's open to the public, and there'll be more information with the coming of the Zoom information. So put that on your calendar, June 18 at 9:30 a.m. Number 13, discussion and possible action regarding Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council's open board seats. Okay, the bylaws, section 6, vacancies. Vacancies on the board shall be filled using the following procedure. Any stakeholder interested in filling a vacancy on the board shall submit a written application to the board, providing community stakeholder is qualified for that particular seat. The board shall cause the matter to be placed on the agenda at the next meeting of the board. Part B, the board shall vote on the application at the meeting. If multiple applications for one seat have been submitted, the candidate with the most votes wins. In the event of a tie, a coin toss between the candidates with the most votes shall determine the seat appointment. So Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council has received, one residential and one business seat available. We have actually received 2 applications. When the one person wanted some more details, they decided that perhaps it would be better for them at this moment in time to attend committee meetings versus coming right onto the board. So we have one application, and it's Michael Cortez. There you are, Michael. Michael has submitted an application for the one residential seat. So you're going to be on the hot seat right now, Michael. So what we would like from you is for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you qualify, why you want to be on the neighborhood council, if you've attended meetings, etc.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and council members. Is that too formal for you?
Yeah, it is. Much too formal.
King.
Okay. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. My name is Michael Cortez. I am a homeowner located off of Burton and Amstoy, which is in the residential neighborhood, which is off of Roscoe and Balboa. I'm a fairly newer homeowner in that area, but I'm not new to the San Fernando Valley. I was born and raised in Canoga Park at a hospital that no longer exists off of Topanga and Roscoe, but taken over by townhomes. But I went to schools in the San Fernando Valley. I went to Alameda High School in Mission Hills. I got my master's at Cal State Northridge. And I worked at one point for 2 elected officials that represented the San Fernando Valley. I believe civic engagement is so important. When I was when I lived in Canoga Park, I was in my neighborhood council because I felt it was so important to be engaged and involved in your community. You see on my background, I currently work for LA Metro as a community relations manager, working closely with communities to ensure that they're involved in projects, plans, and programs around transportation for the agency. I first learned about the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council, not just when I became a homeowner, but I saw a lawn sign about a parade in Lake Balboa. And I was like, wow, this is such an, oh, there's Danica. I saw that and I was like, this is so awesome. And it reminded me of the importance of being involved in your community and being engaged. And so I would love to be engaged in this neighborhood council. I believe it's important to show everyone in the neighborhood about the pride they should take in their community, help improve our neighborhoods. When CD6 was talking about the tree trimming, I would love to make those connections so that our fellow stakeholders know the importance about being engaged and aware of the resources in their communities. So I would love to be part of your neighborhood council and would be excited given that opportunity. So.
Thank you. Okay, anyone have any questions? Would you pronounce your name for me so I pronounce it correctly? Kalea?
Tina Colella.
Colella?
You're muted. Tina.
Got it. Got it. I don't know how I got muted, but I'm wondering, are you voting tonight for this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Linda Schwerin?
Yeah, Michael, I have a question for you. Should you be elected to the board, what would be your main interests as far as different type of programs or outreach? Let's say outreach or public safety, emergency preparedness. What type of things would you specifically be interested in working on if you're elected to the board?
That's a great question, Linda. I love outreach and community engagement. I think that's so important. At Metro, I started a youth council that just started this year, and I believe it's so important to engage young people. So it's awesome to see Jasmine as part of this board. But just in general, I think outreach is important. I worked on like the virtual, world, so I'd love to do communications and making sure that we get the information out there to our fellow community members. But I think safety is important. I see a lot of young people riding the neighborhoods where I live. So I think that's important, and making sure that, we're safe in our communities. I also have rings. And so as a homeowner now, like I want to make sure our communities are safe. So I want to make sure, the people around me too. So I think safety and community outreach and engagement are my top priorities.
Thank you.
Jeremy, did you have your hand raised? You're muted.
I think Linda asked the question for me, and
Okay.
and I got what I needed.
Well, you have quite a resume. I passed on all your information to the board, and I would say if I were the one candidate with you, your hands down, you would be selected. When you were on the Canoga Neighborhood Council, were you there when Corinne Ho was president?
No, that's how far back I go. It was,
Oh, you
she
go
came in
way-
after me. I was like 22 when I was on the neighborhood council. I was there when some of the folks unfortunately have passed away, but I was on the original formation of that neighborhood council.
Wow, fabulous. No questions? I mean, this really, usually we put everybody on the hot seat, but this seems really simple, doesn't it?
Most people don't have that particular resume to make it obvious. It kind of answers everything for us.
True.
Okay. So I would like to, we have Alan Devandry.
Aaron
Devandry.
Not a board member, but I did work with, and I still work with Canoga Park Neighborhood Council, but I remember working with Michael and he was awesome. So just
Thanks,
some support from my side there.
Oh, awesome. Great for that endorsement, Aaron.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, well, I would like to recommend that we appoint Michael Cortez to the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council.
Second.
I second.
Okay, Gravani made the recommendation. Danica seconded. I'd like to take a poll, please.
Sure. Okay, all board members, please unmute yourself. James Brown.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, it must be public, so no secret ballots.
James Brown. James Brown.
We can't hear you.
Unmute yourself, my dear.
Yes.
We don't have time for all the fun.
Yeah, Katie Cronin is excused. Ruth Doxey.
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia.
Yes.
Linda Gravani.
Yes.
Sandy Joseph is not here. Gary Kay.
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel.
Yes.
Alan Nelson.
Yes.
Carol Newman and Mary Penniman are both not here. Jeremy Pisanik.
Yes.
Tom Rowley's not here. And Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
It is a very unanimous 10 people. Congratulations. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. I'm very humbled and honored. I look forward to working with all of you council members.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, in order to make it official, I need to have the neighborhood council pledge. So if you would raise your right hand for us, please. I pledge to represent my neighborhood.
I pledge to represent my neighborhood
With dignity, integrity, and pride.
with dignity, integrity, and pride.
I will encourage other points of view.
I will encourage other points of view.
Even when they differ from my own.
Even when they differ from my own.
I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion.
I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion.
I will find the good in my neighborhood.
I will find the good in my neighborhood.
And praise it and promote it.
and praise it and promote it.
To my neighbors and to neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles,
To my neighbors and to the neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles,
I pledge to do this to the best of my ability.
I pledge to do this to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Welcome to our team. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for stepping forward also. And we have one vacant seat for a business rep. So we'll keep looking. Okay, number 14, President update, discussion and possible action on. Number 1, Google Suites, which is now Workspace. We're not using it as intended, and I think that we need to do that. Unfortunately, I think that most of the problem is that we don't know how to use it correctly. So I did ask Aaron Devandry if he would take maybe a short time sometime. We'll have just a work group. We'll just have a work group and we'll learn a little bit about it. But what we should be doing is putting the agendas in this area. We should be putting all the phone numbers that we use to contact people. We should be putting all of that in this Google Workspace so that if I get hit by a bus, you have all the information that you possibly need. And you don't have to say, hey, does anybody know where Gravani put? So I think it's imperative that number 1, we learn how to do it. Number 2, we use it. It's not a voting item at the moment. The outreach committee is going to meet on 15 March at 7 p.m. And I'll send out some Zoom information. Now, I want us to also be thinking about outreach materials for 2022, 2023. The reason I say that is in 2023, we're going to have an election for the neighborhood council board members. So if we have money in the kitty, I'd like us to say, all right, let's get some t-shirts, let's get some promo items. So even though it's a long way off, I don't want to give any money back to the city. I want to keep it myself. I mean, for us. So with that in mind, I want you to start thinking about it. And if you have any ideas about what you would like to, to put in the request, I'm sorry, hold on just a second. I apologize. Thank you. My daughter just called. She says there's an alert. There's 4 robbery people running around our community by Birmingham. So she wanted us to know for sure that we need to protect ourselves. Hot off the press. I apologize for that. She called me 3 times. So anyway, we need to look at what we might want for promotional items. And any money that has been awarded to committees, if you're not going to be using it or you think you're going to have extra money left over, if you can kind of give me an idea of what that might be, I would appreciate that also. And funding reminders, 2022 event approvals usually end at the end of May. And again, usually the 1st of June, we have to have all check requests in to city clerk. Mid-July is the final date for bank card transactions. And July 1, budget is due for fiscal year 2022-2023. And again, I'm making this announcement so that we start thinking about it and start planning how we might use the funds. And Dunn has been asked if neighborhood council funds can be rolled over for elections, and that's over the $10,000. So they've allowed us in the past to roll over $10,000 for the next fiscal year. And they are now being asked if we can maybe roll over some additional funds since we're going to have elections in 2023. And a reminder, all committees are open to our stakeholders and are listed on the last page of our agenda. There are the times and the days that they meet. And if it's a Zoom information. Thank you. Number 15, discussion and possible action regarding November 2022 city elections. Who are the candidates? There's many. There's 27 for mayor. So I would like to not necessarily vote on anything today, but I would like you to start thinking about, do we want to hold a candidate forum? If indeed we do we want to join forces with other neighborhood councils, which I probably would recommend because it's a lot of work and we want as many people there as we possibly can. So start thinking about that as well. And again, outreach meets quarterly. So the 15th is when we're having our meeting in March, and we won't meet again until June. So I want us to start thinking ahead if we could. Number 16, discussion and possible action regarding 2023 elections. We will have to start thinking about an election committee and some funds for 2021. Again, if we think we need promo items, that we should start thinking about it in case we have funds that we can dedicate for that. And Linda Schwerin. You're muted.
I just wanted to, yes, just a comment with regard to elections. The city clerk's office will be holding a town hall for NC elections. It'll be this month and the date has yet to be announced. So there should be additional information coming to neighborhood councils from the city clerk's office.
I believe that's to discuss what happened at the last election, not necessarily the future.
It's supposed to be election strategies for the upcoming election cycle.
Oh, okay, great, perfect.
So
perfect.
it sounded like it would be something good.
All right, great. So does anyone have any thoughts on 2023? You just started, Michael. Okay, number 17, update. Do we see Tom calling user?
There is a call-in user too.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute. Asterisk 6.
There we go.
Hi, are you Tom?
Hello?
Are you
Yes.
Tom?
This week? Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're
That's
on
okay.
number, Tom, we're on number 17, update of Tom Riley and land use chair.
I must be looking at the wrong thing. Anyways, the news is that my wife and I are moving to Newbury Park in June. So I'm going to be retiring from the neighborhood council in June. I want to be able to take advantage of the pension program the city has offered me. But so anyways, sadly, I'm going to have to give up the position of land use chairman. And we're going to have to find somebody else who's not as bright as me who will accept that position. And Linda and I have been talking, and we have thought about a couple of people who might be good for the position. So that's coming in the future, but June will be the last meeting that I will attend. So that's the story with that. Number 19, land use
No, it's number
67
18. No, wait a second, Tom. We need to show that you joined the meeting at 8:05 PM. I don't know when you actually did join, but at 8:05, you could put that on the minutes. I'd appreciate it. So number 18, land use.
Linda's secretary noted that he joined at 8:04.
Okay, thank you.
I have
Jeremy?
it also. Thank you.
Unless we change the order here, 17 is supposed to be Linda Schwerin about the LBNC meeting facility. 18
That is true.
Right.
Tom Riley, and 19 is continued on land use.
So sorry.
Skipped right over me, didn't you?
I did. I'm sorry. So
Well-
why don't we do this right in order then?
Well, I wish that I had more to tell you tonight. I have no updates to report. And I expect to hear something from Park VNY shortly. And as soon as I do, I'll pass that information along.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Tom. Land use. 6740 White Oak, which is the salsa and beer restaurant. Conditional use permit.
Yes, for the liquor license, they have the beer and wine license already. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. They have the beer and wine license, have had it for the last 35 years, whatever. But now they have decided their margaritas don't really taste like true margaritas because they have to use wine instead of tequila. So they have applied for a full line of alcohol beverages, which includes tequila, obviously. After discussion between their representative and the land use committee, we took a vote, and the vote was 4 for yes and 0 for no. So based on that, the result of the vote, it is the recommendation of the land use committee that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council approve the application with the condition that they maintain the present hours, which are from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 11 to 11:30 on Friday and Saturday. They also will not sell any liquor or any spirit to customers without food, and also there will be no bar area in either restaurant at any time. So the service, the mixing of drinks, etc., will come out of the kitchen.
I second.
There's no motion
Okay.
yet. He hasn't made a motion yet.
Oh, I thought he said I moved. Sorry.
No, I did move, but I just didn't make a motion.
Yeah, he read it.
I make a motion that the neighborhood council approve what I have just read to them.
It's not good
To
enough,
both-
Tom. No, we need a full motion, please.
You want me to read it again?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I make a motion that the neighborhood council approves the application with the condition that they maintain their current hours of 11 to 10 Sunday through Thursday and 11 to 11:30 Friday and Saturday, that they do not sell any alcoholic beverages without a food order, and that they do not have any bar area within the 2 dining rooms.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, Tom Riley made the motion and Jeremy seconded. Discussion.
About time to have good margaritas. Dang.
Jeremy, you've got your hand raised.
Sorry.
Any other comments? Let's take
You
a vote.
can't have good margaritas.
Well, I don't know. Are they going to change their name from salsa and beer to salsa, tequila drinks and beer?
No.
Okay, let's take a vote.
All board members, please unmute yourself. James Brown. You're muted, James.
No, I'm not. I was thinking that, and the reason I say that is that being a member of the Volunteer Community Patrol, I'm often patrolling in that area. And I know how terrible parking is in that area. I'm not sure how many of you have ever been there. And I will say yes with reservation.
Okay. Katie Cronin is excused. Ruth Doxey.
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia.
You can't
Yes.
vote. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's alcohol, but you can vote.
What did you say, Jasmine? I'm sorry.
I
She
said
can
yes.
vote, she just can't drink.
Okay. Linda Gravani.
Yes.
Sandy Joseph is excused. Gary Kay.
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel.
Yes.
Ellen Nelson. Oh,
Yes.
and Carol Newman and Mary Penniman are not here. Jeremy Pasanik.
Yes.
Tom Riley
Yes.
and Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
11 yeses, 0 no's, 0 abstain. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramon?
Yes, thank
Have
you
a good-
very much. And I represent the client for 6740 Salsa and Tequila. And I wanted to ask, Tom, do I get in touch with you to get an official letter?
He will send an official letter. Yeah, I just muted him. He's got a lot of noise in the background. He's having his own party.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Ramon.
Bye.
Danica? You're muted.
I muted myself instead of unmuted. Sorry about that. Can Michael Cortez vote or does he need to do all the training first?
Needs to do training.
Okay.
Sorry, Michael. That it? Perfect. Okay. Bylaws, discussion and possible action regarding recommended bylaws change. Jeremy?
So this took me on a deep discovery, and it was actually kind of an adventure doing so. It didn't make sense to me that we were at the mercy of what anybody wanted to say, how they wanted to say it in ways that probably is not family friendly. And so I did a little bit of research, found reports from dozens of different law firms, that both the state and federal level, any speaker, there's zero tolerance for profanity at the state and federal level. So if a speaker tries to come and start, dropping F-bombs and different things, they'll immediately get cut off. And the idea that somehow we can't do that is absurd, that somehow we would be the exception. And so as I dug down, indeed, there's already provisions within the Brown Act and various legal precedences that have been afforded to be able to make sure that we can cover everything in a manner that is fair and reasonable, and also this will help expedite, and so we don't draw out unnecessary conversation. So there's a couple different criteria that are key that always came up everywhere I looked. One of which was the time. So as long as we state that there's a time ahead of time, we can hold to it and cut people off if they're dragging out. Obviously, we can decide to let them go and speak longer. Maybe it's an important speaker and they've got a lot of great information for us. But we have that power and we don't violate the Brown Act by cutting them off if they go over that time. The second is indeed profanity. So if we have certain people, which we've had in the past, that are using profanity, we have at the discretion of the board president, can immediately cut them off if it's completely inappropriate. And this also extends to speech that would be violence towards board members or violence towards the community that would be inappropriate in a civil discussion. And so that would be, of course, at the discretion of the board president or the committee chair if it's a committee, standing committee. So, those are all there, and it's been kind of carefully researched. I put all the different pieces together. I did get a response literally just yesterday from Elise at the city attorney's office, and her only comment that she said is that potentially muting somebody for profanity might violate the First Amendment, but the fact that it's already covered within the state and federal level obviously kind of inks that. So it makes no sense that we'd be violating First Amendment when the state and federal level already has provisions for that. So I think it's a moot point. And there's already standing legal precedents for us to be able to do that. So what I've done is in the proposed revision, and it got sent out here. Our current Article 14, really, it only has rules for us as board members, and we have no rules laid out. And just so you know, many NCs have separate meeting rules that's in a different list. We only have a small bylaws that's listed on our website, but we don't have additional, and some of them have multiple documents that cover different areas, one of which will be meeting rules, so what we can expect from stakeholders and what kind of behavior that is acceptable, in civil discussion. So what I propose, just for simplicity's sake, is to expand our section 1 under Article 14, which is Code of Civility, which currently only outlines what we will do as board members for the most part, although it does say that stakeholders shall conduct all council business in a civil, professional, and respectful manner. I just extended what that looks like so that there's a little bit more detail. So that way we don't get ourselves in trouble. As long as we state it ahead of time and they know it and it's posted, we're good to go on a legal basis. And so what I've added is in section 1, Code of Civility, that members of the community, stakeholders, and all attendees at meetings will abide by the LBNC meeting code of conduct, which we could have as something that is separate. Enforcement of the code of conduct will be at the discretion of the board president or committee chair. A is in the meeting code of conduct. Oh, actually, it's already stated here. So meeting code of conduct. All attendee stakeholders and members of the community must speak and act in a respectful and civil manner, which is kind of already something that's already said. But here's the different components of it. When speaking in regards to agenda items, discussion must be limited to the topic at hand and specific to the agenda item. Obviously, the exception would be if it's public up for a public speech. So when we have public comment. Number 2, the use of profanity, threats of violence, or other acts that are inappropriate in civil discussion and public meeting will not be tolerated. Number 3, at the discretion of the board president or committee chair, a violation of the meeting code of conduct may result in temporary or permanent ban from speaking at that meeting. Continued violations during subsequent meetings may result in you not being allowed to speak in further public meetings held by LBNC. And this is supported by legal precedent as well. Number 4, all speakers will adhere to the time limit specified for either public comment or discussion on an agenda item as specified and directed by the timekeeper and or the board president. So the motion is in order to improve the quality, decency.
I have a question before you make the motion, just for clarification, if I could, please. And that would be, you mentioned that it would need to be posted. So does this really need to be a bylaws change, or shall we just attach it onto the agendas?
Technically, it could go either way, but it makes sense to add it into our bylaws as just something that's already there, because it's already posted on our website. And that satisfies the need of posting, just be on the website. We don't have to post it like at Ralph's or any other location. It's on our website. But we probably should put a little thing that says all speakers must adhere to LBNC's meeting code of conduct, and then just refer a link to our bylaws. So it could be something as simple as that, just a single line.
Ruth, did you have a clarification question?
Yes, well, can I share the screen so that the attendees and everyone can be reading it while he's reading it, so we can?
Sure.
Seems like that
Sure,
would be a smart thing to do. Okay.
This was also in the attachments that Linda sent out.
Yes.
Yeah, but this would be for the stakeholders.
Right.
They're supposed to have access to everything that we have access to for during the meeting.
Yes.
I sent it to ENC to post also. I can't see who has hands raised with the screen sharing. I don't know if somebody else can. I know that there were some questions.
So it is
Daniel.
Yeah, it's Daniel from Dunn. So of course, I don't want to take away from what's currently happening right now. I also want to include that, one question. The language that you provided, did you receive support in developing this language within CAD, right, the city's attorney's office? And then secondly, I want to make sure in regards to the motion, the bylaws, remember that you have till April 1st to make bylaw changes overall. So not just one section. So I want to make that clear as well. I know this is a specific section, but I wanted to be clear that the whole entire bylaws is supposed to be looked at during this time frame so that you can make those adjustments at once.
Thank you.
In answer to that, Daniel, I have not gotten anything from Elise specific to the verbiage. I am not an attorney by any means, although I did study business law and was planning to pursue that at one time. And so I at least have some little bit of law background, but I'm no lawyer. So that is something that I've done on my own. However, I did steal from other NCs and other from various law firms and other agencies that use similar like language. So it's not totally brand new. So I hope that's.
So what you're saying is that Elise did not say, yes, this is okay. She said we could have a problem.
The only thing she said was that the use of profanity, the idea of silencing somebody for use of profanity might violate First Amendment, but she didn't say Brown Act. She just said First Amendment. So it was just a real broad sweep, which is, I responded and told her that's absurd, since every other agency, state and federal, already has laws in place that will shut that down if people are using profanity. It's not used in speech at the state and federal level. So I don't think that has any standing.
I haven't watched a city council meeting in a long time, but there was nothing that they did to stop certain people from voicing their opinion with four-letter words.
Well, we live in
True.
LA. That's unique.
Yeah.
So I'm just hesitant. And I'm also hesitant that we didn't get, and this is just for clarification, there's no motion yet, but that we didn't get an okay from the city attorney.
Right.
That's a concern for me. And I really think that maybe we should table this until we do get that. We have till the 1st of April, but we have a couple questions. Michael?
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask, what is the Department of Neighborhood's recommendation, since They work with many neighborhood councils. But I agree, at least for Metro, for the board, we've taken very verbal, like supervisors get beaten up with some of like verbal language, and it's unfortunate that people talk that way. I would just think maybe, I agree, maybe we can look into it further. I would love to see how we can promote the civility code of conduct at our meetings so that people understand how to act. And maybe that will prevent them from acting that way when they make a comment.
Okay, is it John or Michelle this time?
This time it's John. I can talk with a feminine voice if you like, but.
No, it's all right.
Okay, a point of reference, and I got to applaud you guys have the right person on track. He's really done an excellent job here. But let me share with you something. Being at well over 200 neighborhood council Zoom meetings, et cetera, and downtown, there's one thing to keep in mind when you're talking about that one product, about language, et cetera. There is no reduction of the language. They will allow it to happen. And of course, there are two individuals, and Dunn knows who they are, that roam through the different, and I know they've been on yours. They roam through there just to have their fun. But I think in their tiny little minds, they think that they're training you on that particular item. However, what I wanted to point out is, did Dunn tell you that should you get somebody in a situation that you cut them off and they file a suit against you, that Dunn will not, underline, will not cover your legal expenses? That is something that you as an area, so that's the main reason why a lot of people allow it to continue, because these are lawyers that are doing this particular act upon all these neighborhood councils. Just as a point of reference and an idea, you may want to call that young lady back and say, how many times have you represented a neighborhood council on one of these items? Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it. Stacy?
Okay, so I have lots of response to this, and I do wish that this had all been made available to us as constituents before. Ruth, thank you for asking for it to be shown to us now. But I would strongly, strongly ask that you table this for further investigation and further discussion on several grounds, some that were mentioned, some that were not, that I'm going to expand on. One, this doesn't seem to be much different with the exception of the profanity. Jeremy, can you please go back to the actual motion, the proposed motion? Thank you. With the exception of the specifics about profanity, this seems to mostly already be covered. And while I agree that a code of conduct and an expectation for appropriate behavior, it's appropriate to have that code of conduct and make the expectations clear. What they truly are expectations. And like the gentleman was just saying, how enforceable is it? I don't think it's appropriate to minimize the idea that it's a First Amendment right issue. That is huge. And that opens the neighborhood council and the councils in general up to huge liability if a suit is brought and it is deemed a violation of First Amendment rights. And my question is, this seems really easy to, your proposal, or this proposal, sorry, seems easier to enforce when we're on Zoom and you can just mute someone, but how does this lend itself? How does this bylaw change? This is a bylaw change. How does that play out when you're in person? It's not like we have, security that's going to physically remove someone from a meeting. I would also like, as a stakeholder, would like to see all the other information that was provided as support for this proposal, this change to the bylaws. So I'm not sure how I could get that. The idea of an expectation versus
verbiage that is a judgment, that could be a judgment call when the word is in a civil, professional, respectful manner. Respectful for sure is a judgment call. I know this was taken from other great sources. I can see the effort that went into that. So I appreciate that. But there's a lot of subjective judgment involved in that. And I think that could open you guys up to a lot of trouble, because while some people may be communicating in a way that expresses their passion, others may perceive that as disrespectful. So I think there's an issue to be looked into there. And more importantly, the bigger picture is you want to invite community engagement. I get that there are a couple, I mean, I can think of one, but it was mentioned that there are two people that abuse the situation that has resulted in something like this being developed. And while I appreciate the effort that has gone into this, this does not invite community engagement. This pushes people away. This pushes away the community instead of opens the door to conversation and communication, which I think is what the neighborhood council wants and needs, is community engagement. So perhaps shifting this out of a change to bylaws into the code of conduct that was mentioned earlier makes more sense. And it's an expectation that these are the guidelines that you follow to participate. The idea of banning someone from speaking, that seems like a huge potential for liability. Like, to even propose that idea seems really out of line. So thank you.
Thank you. For a point of interest, I sent to the city, which NC Support, which posts our agenda. I sent all the handouts, so they should have posted them as well. So everybody could see every single handout that went out. Daniel, do you have?
This is a question I've asked in the past about handouts. We as stakeholders never get the handouts. So this is a thing I've brought up multiple times, and especially now with this. So thank you for being aware of that, but that does not come to us as stakeholders.
Okay, Daniel?
Yes. So to address well, I'm kind of unorthodox, so backwards. To address the handouts, if you would like something to accompany the agenda and it goes through NC Support, I think what I've seen folks do is PDF it all together. I think if it's separate documents, to say 3 different documents, they can't post together, if that makes sense, because they're 3 different documents. The way the system works is one file uploads. So I think a workaround is to try to condense all those documents with the agenda, and it should be able to get posted if that makes sense. So I just want to PDF them all together. If again, I'm here to support. If you reach out to me and say, hey, can you PDF these in one for us, and then you can send it through NC Support, I'm more than welcome to do that for you all, just to make sure the stakeholders can get that information for you all.
Thank you.
I think that a lot of great points that are happening. On behalf of the department, the recommendation would be to table it for more clarity from the city attorney, just so that there aren't any discrepancies and you don't have to come back to this item to try to correct it.
Thank you. It would be nice to know that the format that was forwarded, the handouts should be in a certain way. So I think it should be publicized, because I didn't know that. Linda Schwerin?
Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay. I thought that perhaps this would be something that would be under discussion after we had a motion and a second, but it appears that what we're doing now is probably the best idea. What I was going to comment on was the fact that, in my view, I do not believe that we need a bylaw amendment. And the reason being is that, let me see if Jeremy included that on what he provided here. This would have been in the bylaws, and the top of Jeremy's page, which I think Ruth was sharing on the screen. Does it? Yes, okay. At the top where it says Article 12 and Article 13. Okay, read this first sentence. additional rules and/or policies and procedures regarding the conduct of the board and/or council meetings may be developed and adopted by the board. 2/3 vote required. Now, it's possible that we could have best practices or standing rules with regard to parliamentary procedure and decorum that would not require a bylaws change. And I don't believe it shows on the bottom. Can you scroll down to the bottom of the page for everyone? No, it does not show here. But in our bylaws themselves, Article 14 is entitled compliance. And I know that isn't something that needed to be on this particular page that Jeremy provided. But Article 14 under compliance, and this actually would cover part of the things that Jeremy is bringing up as far as the public as well as us. And I will just read this to you briefly because we are considering under compliance. The council, its representatives, and all community stakeholders shall comply with these bylaws and with any additional standing rules or procedures that may be adopted by the Board of Directors, as well as all local, county, state, and federal laws that include, without limitation, municipal codes, the city code of conduct, the city ethics ordinance, listing numbers, the Brown Act, the Public Record Act, Americans with Disabilities, and all laws and governmental policies that might pertain to conflict of interest. So pretty much it looks to me that anything that we might consider is already contained herein with regard to civility and parliamentary authority. But we do have to worry about First Amendment speech. So I agree with Daniel. I think this should be tabled, and that perhaps whatever the president would suggest, if this would be acceptable, that we could have a temporary standing committee for rules and procedures, parliamentary, perhaps 2 people or more, to consider what Jeremy's been working on and be able to present that rather than suggesting that we do a full-blown bylaws change.
Thank you. Gary?
I just want to ask it in being sensitive to the time that this is taking, if we are going to table it, that we table it before too much more further conversation.
Agreed.
We're losing attendees and soon going to lose board members. So I just would ask that if we are going to table it, that we table it sooner versus later, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jeremy, do you want to table it for now?
Yeah, I move that that we table this for another
day.
time, a date to be. Obviously, we want to do it before the April 1st, so let's.
Okay, thank
to be
you.
determined.
Okay, moving on, 21 budget, discussion and possible action. I forgot action again regarding January 2022 monthly expense report. Linda Schwerin.
I hope I didn't forget it. It's money spent, right? Okay. The January 2022 monthly expenditure report has been provided to the board members. It has also been posted on our website. Have board members had the opportunity to review the January MER?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion?
Okay, in that case, I make a motion that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council adopt the January 2022 MER monthly expenditure report.
Second.
Okay, Linda Schwerin made the motion. Ruth Doxey seconded. Discussion? Let's take a vote.
James Brown,
Yes.
Katie Cronin's not here. Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia.
Ineligible.
Did you say yes? I'm sorry.
No, I'm ineligible.
Ineligible, sorry. Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Sandy Joseph not here. Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel,
Yes.
Alan Nelson, is
You're muted,
Alan,
Alan.
Abstain.
Alan abstains. Okay, Carol and Mary are not here. Jeremy Pisanic.
Yes.
Okay, and the secretary noted that Tom Riley left at 8:13 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Tom's not here. Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
8 yeses, 0 no's, 1 abstain, and 1 ineligible. Sorry, motion passes.
This is Daniel, if I may, there's also an additional ineligible, and that would be Miguel, for the record.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Miguel will also be deemed ineligible for the record due to not having ethics.
Oh, I was not aware. Sorry.
Okay, I'll email you because I checked my cornerstone. I have ethics done.
So how many are ineligible in actuality then?
Just at this moment, 2 are identified.
2.
And
Okay,
that's
would you tell me who the 2 are?
Yes, so the 2 for the time being will be Miguel. Also, Miguel, just take a screenshot of the transcript if you have it, send it over ASAP, please. And then the youth position, Jasmine.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So then the vote count changes to 7 yeses, 1 abstain, and 2 ineligibles.
Thank you. Number 22, funding. Discussion and possible action regarding neighborhood purposes grant for One Generation. Linda Schwerin.
Thank you. Would you like to have the motion, or perhaps you could inform me? I understood that there might be someone here this evening from One Generation who would like to speak on this particular MPG. Do you know if
Yes.
they're here?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Niambi Cooper, and I am the director for One Generation Senior Enrichment Center located in Reseda, California. And One Generation would like to request the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support and participation for our 13th annual Senior Symposium, which is on Saturday, May 14th, 2022. So it's coming up really quickly. This year, we also participated last year with this particular event, which was outdoors at our One Generation Intergenerational Daycare Center soccer field, which is located in Van Nuys. Also on Victory Boulevard. So this year, the health and wellness of our senior community is just really important. And our goal is to just keep our older adult population, who many are just craving for activities and just interaction, just keep them connected and informed of what's going on in our community. So due to just the ongoing changes with the pandemic and just to keep everyone safe, our symposium will be outdoors again. And this is where we'll have our vendor booths set up so the seniors and their caregivers can just pass by safely to stop by to pick up just information and resources and just be able to see each other's faces for a change, since our senior center is still closed to the public just due to the pandemic. So we're going on 2 years now being closed. So we're really excited for our symposium, and just the attendance continues to grow each year with our participants from all over the San Fernando Valley. The participants, they are in for Lake Balboa neighborhood, and they
also participate in just our One Generations program and just services from our Adult Day Center and our Senior Enrichment Center. So just local resources, services, and programs will be available at our senior symposium, just fitness activities, vaccine clinic, social service assistance, just all aimed towards supporting our older adults and just adults with disabilities and their families. So this event is 100% free. It's just available to the public and just available to anyone who is interested in attending, and your support through this NPG will just allow for the purchase of our tables and chairs and canopies, just to make this event successful. So we would really appreciate your support, and we're really excited. So on behalf of One Generation and our president and CEO, Jenna Haas, we appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, you want to make a motion, please?
Okay, am I unmuted? Yes, I am. All right. I move Lake Balboa NC approve a neighborhood purposes grant expenditure in the amount of $1,000 in support of the 13th annual Senior Symposium and open air walkthrough health fair event for older adults to be held on May 14th, 2022 at the One Generation Adult Daycare Campus. Actually, it's listed as in Van Nuys on Victory Boulevard. That's my motion. You did notice that I corrected it. It's Adult Daycare Campus in Van Nuys on Victory Boulevard.
Is there a second?
Second. Except it's in Lake Balboa.
Well, it's 91406, which is technically us, but they are One Generation.
Identified as.
They're identified. That's
Linda Schwerin has made the motion and Ruth Doxey seconded. James Brown has a question.
Van Nuys or Lake Balboa, what's the location, Linda?
it's next to the
No, the address?
It's
17400 Victory Boulevard.
Okay, got
Same
it.
place as it always is.
Is that right, Namby?
That
Got
is
it.
correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Got it.
Gary Kay.
Thank you. Not that this should influence anybody's vote, but I just wanted to mention that this is also, I believe, Linda Gravani, please correct me if I'm wrong, the same date as the Linda Pruitt EP Memorial event.
That is correct.
So I just want to be sure that we're going to have people that are available to do outreach at this event, having two events going on simultaneously that we're supposed to be a part of. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I think that's a good point. The Linda Pruitt Memorial is in the works and is planned, and we've had the date on the calendar for a long time. So I'm not sure that we do have people to man the booth. Am I allowed to say man the booth any longer? So I'm not sure that we can actually participate. I'd like to just know who would be attending the Linda Pruitt, which I think is starting at 9:30 or maybe it's 10 o'clock. So it would be about the same time. And it would end, I think, at 1 o'clock, Sandy had mentioned. So I'm not sure the value that we would have at that particular event. Danica?
Niambi, can we get our logo on any printed materials, or have you already printed all your?
Yes, we will definitely have it on all of our promotional materials, even our flyer that I have to get to you guys.
Does that include listing neighborhood councils that are support your project on your website as well?
It will, and on our newsletter.
Thank you. May I make a comment, Madam President?
You may.
Okay. most of us, except perhaps our newest members, knew and honored Linda Pruitt greatly, and maybe planning on attending the Emergency Preparedness Memorial event. However, there are now 16 people on our council, and 2 people, if they were able to participate at One Generation, would leave a number of others at our memorial. So that might be something to consider. Also, it's possible that we may have a volunteer. One of our stakeholders might like to do some outreach with the neighborhood council and participate at the senior symposium. Just a thought.
Good thought, Linda. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay,
I'll volunteer for the senior symposium. Just FYI.
Michael?
I was gonna say I can also volunteer for the symposium.
Thank you. So we've got I'm writing this down, Jeremy and Michael.
I wish I could be at 2 places.
Okay, let's take a vote. Oh, James?
Yeah, I'll volunteer for the symposium.
Okay, James has volunteered also. Perfect. Let's take a vote.
James Brown,
Yes.
Katie Cronin's not here. Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia. Oh, no, sorry, she's ineligible. Sorry. Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Sandy Joseph not here. Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel is ineligible. Alan Nelson,
Abstain.
Carol Newman and Mary are not here. Jeremy Pisanik,
Yes.
Tom Radley's not here. Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
7 yeses, 1 abstain, and 2 ineligibles. Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 24, funding Friends of the LA River, which is called FOLAR, cleanup funds. There was no NPG submitted at this time.
You're skipping number 23. Linda.
Oh,
That's-
sorry. Sorry. Funding, discussion and possible action regarding funds for Encino's Academy for Enriched Sciences, which is actually in Encino. The board in the past wanted to know about all requests for money, so that's why I put it on the agenda. They are not in Lake Balboa. There is no neighborhood purposes grant, but they did want money from us. And I don't think there are so many worthy causes, but we do have 13 schools within our boundaries. And if we're going to give money to a school, I would prefer to give it. And if somebody wants to make a motion to give funds for future, or shall we say we want a neighborhood purposes grant, or you need to be in Lake Balboa.
I believe
Jeremy?
they should, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I think they should be in Lake Balboa. I think that, I mean, we have limited funds. Obviously, it's being more and more restricted, and we need to focus on our locality, and seniors can take care of their own.
Linda Schwerin,
I agree.
Danica?
Do you need a motion?
No,
Okay. No, I
No.
agree.
no. Yes, there's a motion if you want to contribute money. If we don't have a motion, we'll just move on.
Move on.
No motion? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. Number 24, Friends of the LA River.
23.
Did I miss
It's number 23.
funding for,
No.
We just did that.
24 is the FOLAR, which in my defense.
okay, so I am right. Okay, so Friends of the LA River cleanup funds, and again, there was no neighborhood purposes grant submitted, but Ruth wanted to maybe discuss it for future.
Okay, so I was telling you because I was just giving you a heads up. I didn't actually request it to be on the agenda. So because Zoe, the woman at Folar, is on sabbatical until mid-March. So I didn't actually make the request to put it on the agenda. I was just giving you a heads up, but
Thank you.
so just table.
Okay, thank you. Number 25, funding discussion and possible action to authorize up to $125 expenditure to purchase an external hard drive for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council Treasurer. I have an external hard drive, which I have letters, etc. on. And I know I mentioned earlier about Google Suites that we're not using it correctly, but Linda has an old computer that she had when she was previous treasurer, as well as Jim Stein's. And to input all of that into Google Suites will take an awful long time, but she can easily put it onto an external hard drive and it can be used at any time. But any future things, we want to use the Google Suites. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council authorize up to $125 expenditure to purchase an external hard drive for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council Treasurer.
Second.
Gravani made the motion, Ruth seconded. Discussion. Stacy?
Should it be actually designated? Because then doesn't it belong to the treasurer? Shouldn't it be for the board to purchase one?
The board does purchase this.
Right, I understand, but the way the motion is worded, it's being purchased for the treasurer as opposed to being purchased for the board, and whoever uses it, uses it.
No, it's a treasurer. I didn't say Linda Schwerin, I said treasurer. So whoever is the treasurer has possession of it.
Right, but that's the question. Is it to be limited only for that particular use?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay. Thanks for
Do
clarifying.
you want to change that to treasurer? No.
It's good the way it is. Yeah.
We got it.
Any other further discussion? Let's take a vote.
Oh, sorry about my printer in the background. James Brown,
Yes.
Katie Cronin's not here. Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia is ineligible. Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Sandy Joseph not here. Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Miguel is ineligible. Alan Nelson,
Staying.
and Carol and Mary are not here. Jeremy Pisanik,
Yes.
Tom's not here. Linda Schwerin.
Yes.
7 yeses, 1 abstain, and 2 ineligibles. Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 26, thank you, board members, for all you do for our community, much behind the scenes, not just tonight. So thank you very much. The community appreciates all of us. Thank you. Number
Good night,
27.
everyone.
Good night and welcome to our
Okay.
new board member.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 27, it is 8:58. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, Michael. We'll be in touch.
Good night,
Good
all.
night, everybody.
I'll have you on
Thanks,
speed
Michael.
dial.
Congrats, Michael.
Bye.
Nine, made it before 9.
Good night from Shawnee.